Hello and welcome back to English Everyday Podcast. I'm Sam and I'm so happy you're here today. Every week I like to pick something that's been trending, something people are talking about. And today we're diving into a topic that's been absolutely everywhere this week. With Boxing Day just happening and all the buzz around Jake Paul potentially fighting Anthony Joshua, boxing is on everyone's mind right now. But here's the thing. We're not really going to focus too much on Jake or Anthony specifically. Instead, I want to talk about boxing itself, the sport, the culture, why people love it, and of course, some amazing English vocabulary that comes from the boxing world. Because honestly, boxing has given us so many expressions we use every day without even realizing it. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's spend the next 20 minutes talking about boxing. And hey, maybe by the end of this, you'll understand why millions of people around the world are absolutely fascinated by two people wearing gloves and dancing around a ring. Now, before we jump in, just a quick reminder about how this podcast works. This is a shadowing exercise, which means I want you to speak with me at the same time as me. Don't wait for pauses, don't repeat after me, just speak along with me as I'm speaking. Use the captions if you have them. Follow along with the text. Let your mouth move with mine. It might feel a little weird at first, I know, but this is honestly one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation, your rhythm, your natural English flow. Trust me on this one. All right, ready? Let's talk about boxing. So, boxing. Where do I even start? I think the first time I really got interested in boxing was actually through movies, not through real fights. You know those classic boxing movies? Rocky, Raging Bull, $1 Million Baby? There's something about boxing in films that just captures this raw human struggle. It's not just about fighting, it's about determination. It's about overcoming obstacles. It's about never giving up. And that's kind of what boxing is, isn't it? At its core, it's two people in a ring testing themselves against each other. No teammates to rely on, no equipment except gloves and sometimes headgear. Just you, your opponent, and your willpower. Now, the first vocabulary word I want to teach you today is underdog. An underdog is a person or team that is expected to lose in a competition or contest. They're the one nobody thinks will win. Boxing is full of underdog stories. Think about it. Some of the most famous moments in boxing history happened when the underdog shocked everyone and won. People love underdog stories because they're inspiring, right? They remind us that anything is possible, that predictions aren't always correct, that hard work and heart can beat talent and expectation. In everyday English, we use underdog all the time. You might say, I'm rooting for the underdog in this election, or our team was the underdog, but we won anyway. It's such a useful word, and it comes straight from sports culture, especially boxing. What's interesting about boxing, it's called the sweet science. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? The sweet science. It sounds almost poetic, doesn't it? And I think it's called that because boxing isn't just about being strong or tough. It's actually incredibly strategic. Boxers have to think several moves ahead, like chess players. They have to read their opponent's body language, predict what's coming next, find weaknesses, and exploit them. I remember watching a documentary about Muhammad Ali, probably the most famous boxer of all time, and what struck me wasn't just his physical ability, it was his intelligence. The way he studied his opponents, the way he used psychology to get into their heads before the fight even started. He would talk trash, make bold predictions, do whatever it took to gain a mental advantage. That's the science part of the sweet science. Our second vocabulary word is momentum. Momentum means the strength or force that allows something to continue or to grow stronger over time. In physics, it's about movement, but we use it metaphorically all the time. In boxing, momentum is crucial. A fighter might be losing the first few rounds, but then they land one good punch and suddenly they've got momentum. The crowd gets excited, their confidence grows, and everything shifts. We see this in life too, right? When you're learning English, some days feel hard and slow, but then you have a breakthrough moment. Maybe you watch a movie and understand most of it, or you have a great conversation, and suddenly you've got momentum. Things start clicking. I have to confess something. I've never actually been in a boxing ring myself. The closest I've come is doing a boxing workout class at a gym, and let me tell you, even that was exhausting. I thought I was in decent shape, but after 15 minutes of punching a bag and doing boxing footwork, I was completely worn out. That experience really gave me respect for actual boxers. The conditioning, the stamina, the mental toughness required, it's incredible. These athletes train for months, sometimes years, for a fight that might only last 36 minutes total. That's 12 rounds, 3 minutes each. Can you imagine? All that preparation for such a brief time. But I guess that's true for a lot of things in life, isn't it? We prepare, and then the actual moment is brief. Job interviews, exams, important presentations, we stress about them for weeks, and then they're over in an hour. Maybe boxing teaches us something about that, about making those brief moments count. Let's talk about our third vocabulary word, knockout. A knockout, often abbreviated as KO, is when a boxer is hit so hard they fall down and cannot get up before the referee counts to 10, ending the fight immediately. But here's what's cool. We use knockout in everyday English all the time, and usually not about boxing at all. If someone says, "She looked knockout in that dress," they mean she looked stunning, amazingly beautiful. If you say, "That presentation was a knockout," you mean it was incredibly impressive and successful. It's taken on this meaning of something that's so good it's almost overwhelming. You'll also hear knock out as a verb phrase in different contexts. I need to knock out this report before lunch, meaning finish it quickly. That flu knocked me out for 3 days, meaning it completely incapacitated you. The boxing term has spread into so many areas of English. Speaking of knockouts, did you know that some of the most famous knockouts in boxing history last only a few seconds on replay, but people talk about them for decades? There's this one knockout by Mike Tyson, another legendary boxer, where he won a fight in just 91 seconds. 91 seconds! That's probably less time than it's taking me to talk about it. That's the drama of boxing, though. Anything can happen at any moment. You can be winning the entire fight, dominating every round, and then one punch changes everything. One mistake, one moment of lost concentration, and it's over. There's something very real and very human about that, don't you think? Now, I mentioned earlier that boxing has given English so many expressions. Let me share a few with you. When someone says, "throw in the towel," they mean give up or surrender. This comes from boxing. Literally, a boxer's corner would throw a towel into the ring to signal that their fighter was done and couldn't continue. Or how about saved by the bell? That's when you're in a difficult situation and something happens at the last moment to rescue you. In boxing, if a boxer is getting beaten badly but the round ends, the bell literally saves them from more punishment, giving them a minute to recover. Roll with the punches is another one. It means to adapt to difficulties and keep going despite problems. In boxing, good fighters literally roll with punches. They move their body with the impact to reduce the force. Isn't that fascinating? These phrases are so common in English that most people don't even realize they came from boxing. Our fourth vocabulary word is rivalry. A rivalry is a competitive relationship between people or groups who are trying to achieve the same goal or be better than each other. It's an ongoing competition, often with strong emotions involved. Boxing has some legendary rivalries: Ali versus Frazier, Pacquiao versus Mayweather. These weren't just one-time fights, they were ongoing stories, sometimes spanning years, with multiple matches and constant comparison. Rivalries in boxing capture public imagination because they're narratives, stories with heroes and villains, victories and defeats. We use rivalry in so many contexts. The rivalry between Apple and Samsung drives innovation. There's always been a friendly rivalry between those two tennis players. The two restaurants have a rivalry over who makes the best pizza in town. It suggests competition, but also a certain respect and acknowledgement of the other's abilities. You know what I find interesting? Boxing is such an individual sport, but it requires a whole team. I mean, yes, when you're in the ring, you're alone. It's just you and your opponent. But behind every successful boxer is a huge support system. There's the trainer who designs the strategy and teaches techniques, the cut man who stops bleeding and reduces swelling between rounds, the nutritionist who manages diet and weight, the sparring partners who help with practice, the manager who handles business and negotiations. It's kind of like learning English, actually. I mean, sure, you're the one who has to do the work. You're the one who has to practice, study, speak, make mistakes, and keep trying. But you need support too, right? Maybe it's a teacher, or a language exchange partner, or even just a podcast host talking to you right now. None of us achieve anything completely alone, even when it feels like a solo journey. I think that's why people connect with boxing on an emotional level. Yes, it's violent, let's be honest about that. Two people are literally trying to hit each other. But beneath that violence is this very human story of struggle, of training, of sacrifice, of testing your limits. And whether you're a fighter in a ring or someone learning a new language in their bedroom, those themes are universal. Let's talk about our fifth and final vocabulary word, stamina. Stamina is the physical or mental strength that allows you to do something difficult for a long time. It's about endurance, about lasting power, about not giving up when things get hard. Boxers need incredible stamina. Even though each round is only 3 minutes, those are 3 minutes of intense, constant movement. Your heart is pounding, your muscles are burning, you're getting hit, and you have to stay sharp and focused. Then you get 1 minute to rest, and you do it all over again, maybe 12 times. That requires serious stamina. But we use this word for all kinds of situations. I don't have the stamina to work 2 jobs anymore. Building a business requires stamina and patience. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. You need stamina. It's about that long-term endurance, that ability to keep going when the initial excitement fades and you're in the hard middle part of any journey. You know, I think one reason boxing fascinates people is because it's so honest. There's no hiding in boxing. Your strengths and weaknesses are completely exposed. If you're not properly prepared, it shows. If you're afraid, it shows. If you're confident and skilled, that shows too. The ring is like a truth teller. Compare that to our everyday lives, where we can often hide behind emails or job titles or social media personas. Boxing strips all that away. It's just you and your ability right there for everyone to see. There's something refreshing about that, even if it's also terrifying. I read somewhere that more people watch boxing matches than actually want to be boxers, which makes sense, right? We admire the courage and skill, but most of us are happy to watch from a safe distance. But I think what we're really watching is human nature at its most essential. We're watching people face fear, overcome pain, push beyond what they thought possible. And, okay, yes, there's also this spectacle of it all. The lights, the crowd, the dramatic entrances, the referee raising someone's hand in victory. Boxing knows how to put on a show. That's why it's been a popular sport for literally thousands of years. Ancient Romans watched boxing. Ancient Greeks had boxing in the Olympics. It's one of humanity's oldest sports. The modern version is obviously very different. There are rules now, safety measures, weight classes, regulations, but the core appeal hasn't changed. It's still about two people testing themselves, still about courage and skill, still about that primal human question, who's better? Now, let's bring this back to English learning because that's really what we're here for, right? What can boxing teach us about learning English? Well, first, it teaches us about practice. Boxers don't just show up on fight night, they train every single day, sometimes twice a day. They practice the same punches thousands of times until they're automatic. They build muscle memory. And that's exactly what we need to do with English. We need to practice every day, even when we don't feel like it, even when progress seems slow. Second, boxing teaches us about resilience. Every boxer gets knocked down sometimes. Every boxer takes hits, but the ones who succeed are the ones who get back up, who learn from their losses, who don't let setbacks define them. Same with English. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have bad days. You're going to say something wrong or not understand something. That's normal. That's part of the process. The question is, do you get back up? Third, boxing teaches us about strategy. Good boxers study their opponents, adapt their approach, find what works. In English learning, we need to be strategic too. What methods work for you? What time of day is best for studying? What topics interest you enough to keep you engaged? Don't just throw random punches, have a plan. And finally, boxing teaches us that preparation matters, but so does showing up. You can train perfectly, but eventually you have to step into the ring. With English, you can study grammar and vocabulary all day, but eventually you need to actually speak, actually try to communicate, actually risk making mistakes in front of real people. That's where the real growth happens. I'm not saying learning English is exactly like boxing. Nobody's going to punch you if you use the wrong verb tense, but there are some real parallels about discipline, perseverance, and courage. You know, one thing I love about the boxing community is how they respect both winners and losers. If someone fights with heart, gives everything they have, they get respect even if they lose. There's this understanding that just being willing to step into that ring takes incredible courage, and I think we need more of that attitude in general. When you're learning English, be proud of yourself just for trying, just for showing up every day and working on it, just for being willing to sound silly sometimes, to make mistakes, to keep going. That takes guts. That takes the same kind of courage a boxer needs, just in a different form. All right, we're coming up on the end of our time together today, and wow, we covered a lot. We talked about boxing, about underdogs and momentum and knockouts and rivalry and stamina. We talked about why this sport has captivated people for thousands of years and what it might teach us about our own challenges and goals. I hope this conversation gave you some new vocabulary, but more than that, I hope it gave you some food for thought. Maybe next time you're struggling with English, you'll think about a boxer training every day for that one big moment. Maybe you'll remember that getting knocked down isn't failure, it's just part of the journey. Before you go, let me just say thank you. Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with me, for practicing your English, for speaking along with me, for being part of this community. Learning a language is hard work, and I'm proud of you for doing it. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, send a message, let me know what topics you'd like to discuss in future episodes. And remember, we do this every week. Pick something trending, something interesting, and talk about it while practicing English together. Until next time, keep practicing, keep pushing yourself, and remember, you're not just learning English, you're building stamina, developing resilience, becoming someone who doesn't give up when things get hard. You're becoming a champion in your own right. I'm Sam, this has been English Everyday Podcast, and I'll talk to you soon. Keep fighting the good fight.